Yes, we have wide experience of how transparency works in local governments and how publishing data to ordinary citizens improves responsible behavior of local governments. And that's why we are assessing different indicators, financial health indicators, transparency indicators, and also competitiveness indicators in Slovakia to create public pressure on improving these areas of management of municipalities. And our experience is that it really works. So if you really provide data, provide information to people, this information must be user-friendly. Ordinary people should understand this information. Then people then take interest. They are interested in studying this data and in creating opinion about whether their municipality is running well or bad. And we have experienced that once we publish this data, then suddenly the behavior of municipalities starts to improve. For example, we published the financial data in 2010, and our experience is that the municipalities started to watch for the financial management, and they started to care about financial health of their municipality. Also, we have the experience that if you publish data about expenditure of local governments, then these local governments start to take care more about efficiency of those expenditure. And indirectly, this leads to better public services, better products provided by municipalities to citizens. The same is the experience with transparency. So once we started to monitor the transparency of local governments, we see that it creates a platform for exchanging best practices among municipalities, and it also launches competition among those municipalities to implement measures to increase transparency and to get better in the rankings that we are producing or that Transparency International is producing. And the third thing is about competitiveness. So once we publish and evaluate competitiveness of regions, then we think that we can see that we are providing better information for potential investors, and they can learn where to invest, what are the competitive advantages and disadvantages of regions, and the investment is very important for the standard of living of ordinary people. It's very important that you have some informal control imposed on the local government. So this case proves that you cannot rely on just formal official control of the central government, because they usually do not provide good controls because of the conflict of interest, or because they simply do not care, they do not have data, etc. So that's why it's very important to develop also some informal tools. And these informal tools can be exactly by collecting and publishing data and by empowering citizens with information about what's going on in their municipality. And if you have such a control in place, such as informal control, then you decrease the risk that you find out some bad, irresponsible management in the emergency case, just like with your bridge in Kiev. So it is the worst situation that you do not know nothing, you do not do anything, and you simply find out that your bridge is broken. And then you have really problem, you have traffic problems, and simply this cannot work. It's much better if you provide information on regular basis that the citizens know about what's going on, about the process, and that they control continuously, not just in the emergency cases. First of all, we found out that there are differences. So it makes sense to evaluate regions and to compare regions, because not all of them are the same. And we found out that the weakest point is infrastructure. Especially the transport infrastructure, we could see that it is a real problem in many parts of Ukraine, and there is some investment, public investment, which is lacking in transport infrastructure. And then on the other hand, you have also some good points. For example, education is a good point, or you have some industry development, which is very different from one region to other. So you have regions, for example, in the eastern part of Ukraine, which are very well developed. The industry is well developed there. But then you have regions in some other parts where this point is much weaker. So that's why it's very important to take care of different indicators and to compare the regions, and to, based on these analyses, to propose strategy, how to improve how to improve the situation of every particular region. So the citizens, they basically, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's important that they have serious, reliable information. So if the information is confusing or if it is not user-friendly, then you cannot solve anything. The most important thing is to give them a very reliable information, which is easily to compare, easily to understand, and then they can really make the pressure on local governments. And we offer several areas for comparison where the citizens can just browse the portal, for example, the transparency portal, and they can see the weak points and the good points for the country, and then they can choose, for example, decide about how to participate in decision making of the local government, how to watch the public procurement of the local government, and how to participate in the meetings of the council, because sometimes people just do not know, and if people do not know, then the local government does not care. So they do not care about publishing the videos from the local council meetings. But if you start to publish this information and you show that, look, the region, the village next to you or the city next to you is publishing the videos, but you are not. And then, okay, why don't you publish the videos? Then I want to have the videos as well. And once you create such a pressure, then the local government starts to publish the videos, and then you have citizens, ordinary citizens, more involved in what's going on in the municipality, and also better informed about decision making. So first of all, we are finalizing the report on competitiveness of regions. This report will include the analysis of every particular region, and it will include its strong and weak points, so advantages, disadvantages, and it will also include recommendations for improvement. This should serve as a basis for developing of strategies for developing the regions, and we would be happy if the government started to take care of this problem and use this as some basis for development strategies for regions in the future. Next, we plan to stay here for at least 1 more year, and we plan to update the portal. So again, to collect the data and to see how much situation changed in a year. So we will compare what is the development in all indicators of financial health and transparency. And then we will award, at the end of the project, we will award the most transparent cities. So we want really ignite competition among cities to get better ranking. And we also want to assist the cities and to help them to introduce the measures that are improving the transparency and improving the management of municipalities. So that's why we are creating 2 teams of people, of activists and analysts who will be working directly with particular municipalities in developing measures and implementing measures to improve transparency ranking. I think that the most important thing is to arouse public interest for these projects, so to involve media in informing about the results of this project and to create real public pressure on the authorities to improve. So if we do not succeed in this public pressure, then I'm afraid that the project will not have the impact that we want to have. So that's why we very much focus on media strategy and on how to deliver the information and the results to ordinary citizens. And also the other part is also to communicate with the central government and also with local governments to somehow inspire them how they can change the situation, to give them our knowledge, and to maybe sometimes these are just very easy measures which can be introduced, and maybe they will find inspiration and improve the situation. We don't know, because we have been not in touch with the central government so far, and we even have not been directly in touch with local governments. So this will be actually the second part of the project. Now this was the first part where we published the data, we collected and published data and created evaluations, and now we are waiting a little for feedback also from the society, from the media and from the local authorities and from the central government. And based on our Slovak experience, this feedback was very strong. So we had huge readership, really tens of thousands of people who are regularly visiting our webpage, politicians actively discussing about results of our rankings and using the arguments before elections, for example. And we also have experience of the central government introducing some systemic measures how to improve the situation. And also very important is the exchange of the best experience among municipalities. So we could see that this project helped in Slovakia to spread some best experience from one municipality to the other municipalities, but also to the central level. So even sometimes the central government got inspired from local government and introduced the measures, for example, publishing the contracts. This publishing contracts was initiated by a small city in the western part of Slovakia, and now it is published everywhere. So all public contracts are published on internet now. So really, based on our experience from Slovakia, we know that this is possible, and we are waiting for the feedback and how it will work in Ukraine.